It's weird. The PlayStation 5 is insanely powerful, but I can't help but think how limited we are compared to PC gamers. And the more I look at the PlayStation 5 library, the more I notice entire genres that feel strangely empty. So I want to start off with the motivation for this video really, which is that I had a feeling I wanted to play some football games. And I realised that the latest PES that I had was PES 2020. The one after that, PES 2021, is technically the same game, just with an update. And then they ceased to exist. What I mean is the business strategy completely changed. So the next installment in the series became eFootball 2022. The problem with this is there was certain things I enjoyed about the old school game. You could do a career, for example. You could play with your beloved team. In my case was Atleti. But nowadays it's all microtransactions, superstars, legend players. Now, don't get me wrong, these things are fun, but sometimes I don't want a team with Messi, Ronaldo, and Beckham from the 2000s. I want Griezmann, Koke, Oblak in goal. And actually, it's not even about the real players. It's about having a career, an offline mode, and having my own league to go to, not connected to some online database. And yes, other football games technically exist, but they don't give me the same feeling. The last FIFA game I bought was FIFA 2015. And ever since then, FIFA just didn't click with me. PES, on the other hand, was my go-to. Honestly, I'm just not looking for online first, live service, ultimate team-driven gameplay. And that's what we're lacking really. We're lacking an offline focused football experience, where you can just pick up your club and enjoy a season. And I think the biggest problem is there's a lack of competition. EA has dominated for years, and therefore innovation has slowed. PES used to fill that gap, and now it no longer does. It seems as though they're competing for the same thing. And really, there are so many angles football could take. I don't need real players. Why not invent an entire league that is fictional? Like I say, this is just an idea, but like for me personally, I just don't see why we don't have more football games, different takes. They could even be more arcadey. Why not an anime style football game? And another sport that's close to my heart is rugby. And again, these games do exist, but not the high quality standard we expect from the AAA industry. They seem to try and fill a gap, but miss in many regards. And that's why I'm saying reinventing football would be amazing, with fictional leagues and upgradable players. Maybe an RPG style progression, traits and perks, a more gamified, creative take on football. And licensing isn't everything. Imagination could open the genre up. But this video isn't just about sports. I also feel like we're lacking the sort of couch co-op games we used to have back in the day. Split screen, that sort of thing. Recently, I've loved playing games with my girlfriend, taking turns, sharing experiences. But the options for true co-op gameplay are surprisingly limited. Or that's when I first noticed it. From a business perspective, it makes sense. Make it either single player, or you can play with your friends, but you both have to own a console and a version of the game. But it's not very consumer friendly. You're not doing a fan service. And that's such a shame. There's a huge gap between high-quality single-player games and high-quality cooperative games. So the expectation now is to have 2 consoles, 2 PSN subscriptions, and 2 copies of the game, just to play together. And of course, we're not talking about some sort of hardware limitation here. The PS5 has the power to run split screen easily, but studios don't prioritize it. We're missing big budget co-op campaigns, local sports games beyond FIFA style games, party games with depth, co-op shooters or action games that don't force online play. At this point I was sort of thinking to myself, what other genres are out there that are sorely missing a library of games? This next one's quite an obvious one, and that's real-time strategy games. It's almost absent on consoles, but there should be space for it. Let's be fair, the PC is the home of the RTS. But that doesn't mean consoles can't have their own identity in the genre. Sure, controller limitations are real, but they are solvable. The gap isn't hardware, it's lack of investment and experimentation. PS5 could support base building RTSs, tactical RTSs, hybrid action, or even slower, more strategic experiences. Now, this is the thing, I'm not saying by any means up to this point that we don't have games in these genres. There are some excellent couch co-op games. For example, It Takes Two, A Way Out, or even something like Diablo 3. Likewise for RTS games. We're fortunate enough now, because of Microsoft, to have Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, or even Age of Mythology. And obviously there's some that I'm just going to miss out on this list. But you get my point, we need more. One game I got massive into as of late was Planet Coaster. Phenomenal game. And there's even a Planet Coaster 2, which at some point I will play. Since then, I bought Planet Zoo, and I really want to give that a go too. But that got me thinking, what other management and builder games are out there? I remember when I was a kid playing Roller Coaster Tycoon, for example, specifically number 2. And I absolutely loved that game. And yes, you can actually buy it for PS5. But where's the innovation? Why is there no more of these games? Roller Coaster Tycoon doesn't have the crown anymore. It lost that crown a long time ago. I would say to Planet Coaster. Planet Coaster is the king of the genre now. But there isn't really many competitors. I think a really good example of this is Theme Hospital. If you never played this game, it was absolutely amazing. I had it on PC. And you build your own hospital. And now on PS5, you can actually play 2 Point Hospital. Okay, I'm going to call this out before anyone says it in the comments. I know that it's not a native PS5 version. It's a playable PS4 version, using backwards compatibility. But still, it's a fantastic game and you can play it on PS5. Likewise, as part of the 2 Point games, you have 2 Point Campus and 2 Point Museum. Now, I can't speak for the quality of those games as I haven't played them. And yes, they are on my list. But my point is, we need more of these. These games are phenomenal. I guess what I'm trying to say is I miss the good management and builder games, and it would be nice to see more of them. I just feel like there's room for creativity, more niches, and more depth. The next genre I could think of was stealth games. A recent game that I played that I thought was absolutely amazing was Hitman, specifically World of Assassination Trilogy. This includes Hitman 1, 2, and 3 into one neat package. The graphics are amazing, the gameplay is fun, the story is interesting, and I thoroughly enjoyed that game. But I do feel as though we need some more games like that. We're missing things like Splinter Cell. Metal Gear has massively gone downhill. Of course we have the remakes, which is great, but let's see something new. And also, wouldn't it be interesting to see a sort of immersive sim stealth game? I think that would be pretty cool. I think the PS5 could benefit from stealth variety, different tones, scales, and mechanics. I honestly feel like Hitman in itself, you could play that almost indefinitely, but it would be nice to see some other big names out there. The next genre I thought of was the extreme sports games. I remember as a kid playing SSX Tricky, for example. We have the remasters of the Tony Hawk's games. It would be cool to see some BMX games, for example, or parkour games would be cool. Surfing, mountain biking, wingsuit games. And I know, there's games out there that bring these ideas together, but why not have games that are dedicated to those extreme sports? They would be perfect for quick sessions and they'd have a high replayability. And next, the sandbox destruction games. So we're talking about, for example, Just Cause, Prototype, Crackdown. Now, I know Crackdown is on Xbox, but you get the point, that style of game. These were a whole vibe to themselves. I feel as though you couldn't release those sort of games now in the state that they're in. What I mean is, I feel like there needs to be an evolution of this given sandbox destruction game. Just Cause 2, Just Cause 3, Just Cause 4, fantastic games, but they don't really innovate. We need to see something a bit more, like more progression, more unlocks, more physics-based creativity, or meaningful upgrades. Less repetitive, blow up the same base 20 times sort of thing. PS5 is the perfect platform to reinvent this genre with modern ideas. So it would be really cool to see more of those sort of games. The PS5 is an incredible console, and I genuinely love it. But talking about the genres it's missing isn't about complaining. It's about imagining what gaming could be. These gaps aren't weaknesses, they're opportunities. Opportunities for new ideas, new experiences, and new memories. Whether you're playing alone, with friends, or with someone you love. And if you've enjoyed this with me, stick around. There's so much more I want to dive into, and I'd love to have you here with me for the next one. Thank you so much for watching this week's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.